Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's BDF44 coming at you with another video. So, I've come to you today to talk about James Harden to the Brooklyn Nets. It's not a deal that's been done or at this time. I don't believe that it's to be assumed that it's going to happen. But if you ask me, I'd say 50-50. I think it's an okay chance that he ends up there. I don't think that Houston's a place he wants to be anymore, and now it seems as if he's made it clear that Brooklyn is his top destination. That's what the everybody's reporting basically, if I'm to believe that. And I'm going to, because it just makes sense. And I really believe that he wants to play for Mike D'Antoni. I don't think he ever wanted his coach fired. I think he loved the fact that this system made him look like an MVP all the time, and he had the ball in his hands 24/7. It fit his style, and I just think that Houston kind of collapsed from underneath him, and it's their fault, really. All they had to do was keep a competent team around this man. Granted, Clint Capella got hurt and his value went down, so they traded him away or whatever. Got back a really nice piece in Covington, but just the whole experimenting with the roster thing, having no center, that was irresponsible in my opinion. Um, Based on the landscape, you needed size. I don't know why they underestimated the importance of size in today's league. I don't know. I just hated what they did. I like Daryl Morey, but I hated that particular experiment. It just didn't look good to me, and it didn't work. So now they've given up on that experiment, and they're going to have to trade away somebody to try to create a real team and do this thing correctly. So Westbrook's contract, we've already discussed this. If you watch some of my other videos, Westbrook's contract is one of the worst in the league. It's going to be very difficult to trade this thing. So leaves you with James Harden, which is a very easy contract to trade because James Harden's one of the top players in the league. So you're going to definitely want him on most teams, and you're going to get a heck of a haul for him. When you think about the teams that he could fit on, Brooklyn happens to be a team that um, the fit is not great, but because they'll have so much talent, I don't think you even matter. It doesn't even matter. I think that's what it really comes down to. It matters in the sense that it'll matter when they get to the finals and they have to play the Lakers. Um, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I think we still beat them. I got the Lakers winning that series in 6 early, especially after today's acquisition of Dennis Schroeder. The Lakers look like they are in a position to get a lot better, even from where we're at. Anthony Davis is coming back. LeBron James is ready to go. It hasn't even been that much time between the two teams, the 2 seasons. So it's like guys are still in rhythm more or less, and will be when the season starts. I mean, it's just a lot pointing toward the Lakers having a really good season and winning the championship again, or at least getting to the finals again and running into Brooklyn. So you know, uh, I think Brooklyn's already the team that's coming out of the East at this point. I don't see anybody in the East that can beat them without James Harden. With James Harden, nobody beating them at all in the East. Um, with respect to Miami Heat, who I think are coming back better, and if they get Giannis, it changes everything. So this is assuming Giannis just stays with the Bucks. Which I don't actually assume he's going to do, but that's a whole other conversation. At the end of the day, the Brooklyn Nets realize that because Giannis may be on the move, they need to get better and a lot better. And I think that that's really what it comes down to. Giannis going to Miami means that Brooklyn is not the favorite to come out of the East. I hate to tell people, but that's exactly what that means in my mind. So at this point, it's like, okay, if they get James Harden, that changes that once again and suddenly puts them back in a position to be that team. But, um, you know, the Brooklyn Nets are making massive moves, and it looks like they're going to be able to get James Harden if they want to. Now, there's a couple things that we have to discuss in regards to this. First of all, James Harden going to the Brooklyn Nets means that Kyrie Irving is the third best player on the team. He got away from Cleveland because he hated that. He left Boston because they were logjam and he couldn't really find a good spot on that team to really do what it is that he could um, consistently. There's a whole lot of talent behind him. We got the Gordon Hayward debacle, and then of course the injuries. He's finally playing for his home team. He loved the Nets growing up. He was a New Jersey Net fan growing up. He's finally playing for his hometown team. He's finally in a position to be the star. He's playing with his friend KD. It's going to be awesome. And then you're bringing in James Harden. Listen, I like James Harden. And if there's a conversation to be had about who I'd rather have between him and Kyrie Irving, it's definitely going to be him. So if you're the Brooklyn Nets, you acquire James Harden, and you could care less about fit or anything else. So let's make this very clear. If you're the Brooklyn Nets and you have a chance to do this, you just do it. I don't want my conversation to get to make you think that I don't feel that way. Oh no, you make that move. But the fit is going to be iffy because Kyrie Irving's going to be the third string player, and he's going to make him unhappy. Kyrie's not going to be happy with that role that he's going to get when James Harden's on the team. James Harden is going to have the ball. KD has already shown us when he played for OKC and with the Golden State Warriors that he can play and do everything that he does and only have the ball for catch and shoot situations and catching the ball when somebody else is creating for him. He did it with Russell Westbrook. He didn't enjoy it per se, but he was able to be an MVP playing with somebody who dominated the ball. He doesn't need it to succeed. That's one of the things that's so great about KD. He can score 40 points and not be the focal point of the person dribbling the ball and all that stuff. So Kyrie's a little different in that regard. Kyrie's a lot different in that regard because Kyrie Irving is the best dribbler of the basketball I've ever seen. He's the best ball handler and dribbler in the NBA. So you want him to be able to do what it is that makes him, that he does great. And at this point in time, I just don't know how the heck he's able to do that on a consistent basis if James Harden's on the team. James Harden needs the ball, but it's not even about James Harden needing the ball. When he gets it, it's over. Like, he has it. And that's the thing. It's some players are sort of like Kobe, Iverson. It doesn't matter who's on their team. Once they get the ball, the possession is theirs. And James Harden he's the number one guy probably out of all of those individuals where that is the case. He pounds it, he puts you in a blender, and he does his step backs. He does all of his Euro moves, and he scores plentifully, and he assists plentifully, and he rebounds very well because he's huge. And I just got a bad feeling that Kyrie Irving's going to get phased out. It's going to be the James Harden and KD show. And I don't like that for chemistry when they're not going to be very deep of a team. See, what they're going to do right now in order to get James Harden is they're going to have to give away pretty much everything of value on their team, not named KD and Kyrie Irving. Caris LeVert goes away. Spencer Dinwiddie goes away. Jarrett Allen goes away. They're trading away, I want to say his name is Taurean Prince, but I think he's not Taurean Prince. He's the guy that looks like Taurean Prince. I can never think of his name. But either way, they're going to trade away that piece. They may lose Joe Harris in free agency. Like, their bench is not going to be very good. So you're going to have 3 max players. 2 of them don't fit with one another. The other one is Kevin Durant. It's just like, nah, that's not chemistry that's going to win you a championship at all, in my opinion. I don't see them winning it. I know that sounds crazy with KD being on their team and Kyrie and James Harden. That's like 3 of the best players the game has to offer, but there's something to be said for fit, and they're not going to have a cohesive team. And then you're asking a rookie coach with his coach as his assistant coach. Mike D'Antoni is Steve Nash's assistant coach in his rookie season as a coach. That is just all over the place, man. And the time, what I'm saying is the time line is the word I couldn't think of. The timeline that they have is when now. Maybe 2 years. But you got to understand, KD's coming back from an Achilles. Okay? So with him coming back from an Achilles, you're not really sure which KD you're getting. So what if KD has to miss games? What if he ends up missing half the season? Now you got Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and whatever you're able to scrounge together with 1 year deals in a very, very shallow free agent pool for that kind of thing. Listen, people are going to want to go to Brooklyn, so guys will take pay cuts to make sure that they can get on the team, no different than the Lakers were able to put together. But your brass, your front office still has to be able to make solid decisions in order to maneuver you a future. And with pieces that are taking up so much of your cap that don't fit together necessarily, it's going to be very difficult to put that team together and keep it sustainable like the Lakers were able to do. Um, it's just probably better for the Brooklyn Nets to not make this move for James Harden um, if they want to compete for a championship. I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous, but at the end of the day, there's something to be said for cohesiveness. And while they're going to win, they're going to run through the East either way. I think they have a better shot beating the team that's in the Western Conference if they have more pieces to throw at them. James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant, in theory, should be able to work wonders in the regular season. But when you come down to a 7-game series, you got 2 of those guys are not defenders. KD's a fantastic defender, but again, Achilles. So now you're looking at James Harden. You're looking at Kyrie Irving. Neither one of those guys are defenders. And now you're looking at who else is on the team. You've traded away your best defensive player in Jared Allen. You don't have that defensive anchor in the paint blocking shots like crazy because you gave him to the Houston Rockets to get James Harden. So you have to find ways of bringing back what you've lost with very little cap because 3 guys are eating up the whole thing. That's why I don't know that the Lakers would have been better off now that it's all said and done if we would have been able to get Kawhi Leonard, because we wouldn't have all those different pieces that came together to make it so that we were able to scheme against different teams in playoff series. We were able to answer everything teams threw at us because of our versatility. We had that versatility because of more than 3 players. It's the moral of the story. And you got to be able to pull that together. If you have 2 max players, it's much easier to do. But when you have 3, oh my God, man, you're going to be digging through the G League trying to find players to fit your roster, trying to find players in wild places, taking chances on guys just because you can afford to get them with picks. If you're able to retain any picks in trading for James Harden, which if the Rockets are smart and it's a brand new GM and all that, they're going to try to rob you for all your picks. They should for James Harden. So it's like you leave yourself no wiggle room as a GM, and you're going to have disgruntled players because they don't fit. And you're in an easy East, so they're probably going to win a lot, thinking they're going to run through the playoffs, and probably going to get schemed against by somebody they're probably not supposed to lose to. if they don't lose to that team that I'm speaking of, whoever that may be, then they're probably going to get knocked off by the Lakers because the Lakers are still going to be a better team, a more cohesive team, and LeBron James happens to be over here. And that, in my opinion, is going to be the difference if KD's not 100%. And KD's been able to beat LeBron James in the finals twice. But the reality is he had a very cohesive team with him. Hall of Famers galore in that Golden State team. So, yeah, you'll have Hall of Fame players, but again, does anyone believe that the Brooklyn Nets with KD, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving is better than what KD had over there in Golden State? Nobody's going to think that. Absolutely not. It's just not true. This is not a better team than that if they do this. So that's what it really comes down to as well. I just don't know. I don't see them being better off for this. The reason why you have to make this trade, though, is because it's James Harden. And what you can do with James Harden is get him and then flip him. Trade him again. That's what bringing back that kind of value can do for you. You understand what I'm saying? If he doesn't fit, you can trade him and you get back a massive haul for him. So having him in your grasp is a good thing, just simply because of who he is and what he's worth. That's why you make the trade. You worry about the particulars later. But it does hurt you quite a bit to have him in your grasp when Kyrie Irving's on the books. I'll tell you what you need to do, and no one's going to like this. You got to trade Kyrie Irving. You're not going to do it right away. You're not even thinking about it right now, But if you bring in James Harden down the road, this is what you have to do. Period. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. And it's the right thing to do. And it sucks. It really does, because Kyrie Irving doesn't deserve that. But it's James Harden. It's KD. And Kyrie needs the ball. And you need a center. So that's what's going to happen. If they acquire James Harden, they're going to get him. They're going to have a whole year, probably together. They're going to lose. Kyrie's name is going to be on the trading block. That's my prediction if they do this. It's the same way I looked at the Houston Rockets, dude. Honestly, it's the same thing. Because the Houston Rockets, it was easy to tell that James Harden and Russell Westbrook weren't going to fit, and it was easy to tell that they were going to have to trade one of three players: Clint Capella, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. I said that at the beginning of last season, and it looks like at the beginning of this season, none of those guys are going to be on the Rockets. But it's just about what the cap is going to allow. At the end of the day, teams can only pay players so much money, and once you get to a point where you have two max guys on your team, then it starts getting a numbers crunch game, and no one wants the numbers crunch when trying to build a basketball team. The landscape is too difficult. Teams are too good. You can't really build that way. So, yeah, certain things that are just inevitable. The odd man out is going to be Kyrie Irving, and the only way that's not the case is if KD does not come back, KD. And if KD does not come back, KD, let's say KD gets hurt again, Kyrie Irving and James Harden, they win a lot of games together. But in the playoffs, nah, that's not going to work. It's not going to work. My turn, your turn, my turn, your turn. Nah. We've seen that movie before with the Thunder and Westbrook and Paul George. It just, no. That my turn, your turn crap. Houston tried it twice. It doesn't work. You need cohesive basketball movement. You can't have two ISO players taking turns and that be your offense. You're going to get schemed against and knocked off. And you can do it with KD. KD will probably allow you to get away with more of it than most teams just simply because KD's that great. But nah, that's not winning basketball. It's just not. If the Nets want to do right by Kyrie Irving, they don't make the trade for James Harden. If the Nets make the trade for James Harden, in my mind, that means they're choosing him over Kyrie Irving. And Kyrie Irving is smart enough to know that early. He's shown us that he has an understanding of that kind of stuff when he left Cleveland early. Because he knew LeBron was leaving there and he did not want to be in Cleveland on an expiring contract. I keep telling people that. When Kyrie left the Cleveland Cavaliers, all that talk about him being jealous of LeBron, all of that stuff, that was secondary. If those feelings and those things were true, believe me when I tell you, the move was a career move. He got out of there before LeBron left because he was about to be a free agent and he did not want to be on a bad Cavaliers team when it was time to get paid. I'm telling you, he knew LeBron was leaving. And even if he didn't know LeBron was leaving, chances were LeBron was leaving. And he couldn't take that chance that he would. He couldn't afford to be there when LeBron left, playing with bad players, trying to earn money. No. He had to get out of there early. Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation, but the point is back to it. Kyrie Irving does not. I just don't want to see this happen, I want to see the guy succeed in Brooklyn. I want him and KD to be right there at the end with the Lakers, and we can have it out in a 7-game series. But if they get James Harden, they'll still be there. But it's just not gonna be the same. It's just not. Nah, that's not gonna be the same. But anyway, that's what I got, man. As far as everything else is concerned, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow is the trade day, the day where free agency begins. Teams can do their trade and stuff. The draft is 5 days from now, so it's a lot going on. It's going to be compacted into a small period of time, so it should be a lot of movement. It should be extremely exciting, and I expect to have more videos for you guys very, very soon. Thank you for listening to me bumble and mumble throughout this video and try to stumble over words to get things right. But I hope at the end of the day, everybody has a fantastic time, safe time. Wear your mask, everybody. And my name is BDF44. Thanks for watching. I'm out.